first question I have for you, what do I call you? EC3, what's your preference?
You can call me a winner.
I'm calling you a winner.
Victor. You can call me a victor. You can call me an overman. You can call me a demigod. You can call me an ubermensch. You can call me EC3.
Okay.
They all fall in line. They all fall all in line under that kind of umbrella, that brand, the EC3 brand, formed Ethan Carter III, and then, the essential character, EC3. Yeah, that's fine. EC3, EC, EC3, or 3. You can call me all 4.
EC3PO?
No.
That crosses the line. Well,
only MVP can call me that.
Well, most people aspire to be a mensch. You being an ubermensch, I appreciate you taking the time to speak to a non-ubermensch. And your career is fascinating and inspiring in that you're able to work for multiple companies at the same time. You're able to be yourself wherever you are. It's almost like a dream scenario, I'd have to imagine.
Yeah, it just doesn't pay as well as guaranteed contracts. But and don't discredit yourself. Enough with the negative self-talk. You too can be an ubermensch. It's kind of just like the point we live in within our lives where we, our higher selves and our animal instincts, and like what level are we on? And right now I'm approaching my highest possible self. So I'm not even there yet.
Okay,
but
so
I'm using it in wrestling, so I'm going to brand it.
You are a work in progress. Are you going to be on the road for the Smashing Pumpkins tour this summer?
I don't know. That'd be cool. I hope so. I have a secret crush on the backup singer that Billy's been using. I went to the concert in Tampa and I just fell in love watching her on stage. So that would be a nice way to court her. I'm not sure about the tour plans and things of that nature. I know they were doing Australia and there's probably some wrestling involved with that, but I don't know if I'd be a part of that yet.
The reason I'm asking is because as a person who covers a lot of music and interviews a lot of performers, the press release for the tour that Smashing Pumpkins, Stone Temple Pilots, Rival Sons, and Interpol mentions the NWA, and you're one of the names it mentions as its marquee stars.
Well, that's a good thing. And okay, is this a domestic tour?
I believe the U.S. tour,
okay.
U.S., maybe Canada as well.
It's funny, we're usually the last on our schedule, so I'd like to know. But here's the deal. Okay, STP's on there. Love STP. Interpol, super underrated band.
Yes.
Smashing Pumpkins. I'm not saying this because Billy is my boss and my dear friend, but what a show they're putting on. Like their live show, they get the hits, but he's artistically fulfilled playing his music. The dude changes his guitar every song.
Right.
It was insane to see. And who else was on that?
Stone Temple Pilots, Interpol, and Rival Sons.
Rival Sons, I don't know, but I'll hit them up on Spotify.
Rival Sons is one of those saving rock kind of bands that has probably at this point 10 singles that have charted and all that. So do your homework there, but hopefully we'll see you on tour with that. But bottom line is this, you are one of the reasons that people watch the NWA. The first time you appeared for NWA, did you know that it was going to be a long-term thing?
Yeah, Billy and I are destined to be together forever. Originally, when the NWA was starting, that was kind of like the end days of Impact, and then there was the Game of Thrones scenario with everyone, going for ownership and cutting throats, and like talent were kind of like, the children in the middle, like not knowing anything, and it was hard. Billy definitely had my favor as far as who could have taken that throne, but then he left and started the NWA, and that was the same time I was leaving Impact, and there was that offer. It was WWE or NWA, and I didn't make the wrong decision. You could say I did, and the way it went, you could say it was, but the reason it's not the wrong decision is because it put me in this position now, and so that's the universe dictating what was meant to be. But the opportunity between NWA and NXT came, and I just felt this is a younger version of me and more disgruntled that I had unfinished business, when in fact, the business I should have worried about was my self-fulfillment. So went to NXT, and I had to go through hard times to realize who I wanted to be.
I'd have to imagine the NWA locker room is like 25% people that you used to work with at WWE, yet it also has tomorrow's stars, and it also has some legends that were never in WWE at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that causes an interesting balance. And like, you can't say tomorrow's stars, but at the same time, I'm not giving anybody anything. I'm a star and I will remain a star.
Yeah.
That's because I act like a star, I look like a star, I
Yeah.
treat the business like a star. There is opportunity for somebody, anybody on that roster, if they truly want to become a star. I don't know why they're not picking our brains, intercepting us, maybe joining our little crews, and then therefore stabbing us in the back to become a star. That's how you become a star. I'm waiting for somebody to take that reign. I'm waiting for somebody to, well, I've been stabbed in the back countless times. I'm waiting for a dear friend to stab me in the back. But the opportunity is there for young talent, for sure. It's
Right.
about them being able to stand up, stand out, and be different. What I fear about young talent is I feel they're afraid. They fear doing something different, going against the norm, because they feel they have something to lose, whether it's the opportunity or whether it's the favor of people that are dictating their careers based on, social media and internet reporting, as opposed to fully developing themselves to be freely who they are. But that's all stuff I learned by doing the exact same thing. So that's why I'm telling them, dude, I'm writing a book about it. So it's for the
Are you legitimately writing a book or metaphor?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So it's going to be, I'm probably going to start something that's a training compound and things for young talent. But like, I started writing out just like a helpful guide for young independent talent, and I can't stop writing. Like more and more comes up. And what I think, unfortunately for them, they don't have the veteran insights of the long car rides anymore, or a lot of the veterans, they didn't pay it forward as much. They kind of just fell into office jobs, and now they have something to lose. So they're not going to go all out for anybody else, where young talent needs, I don't want to say guidance, because I could be dead wrong, but somebody that makes them and challenges them to think differently. So that's what I'm trying to do with that.
well, based on your age and the fact that you have close to 15 years of being on television, you're arguably one of the last old school good brothers out there.
Man, am I that old?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Now you're a couple of years younger than me, but the thing is that age gap of the 35 to 40
It's
in professional wrestling, you remember life before the internet, you remember Velocity, things like that.
I was on Velocity. That's a good point, considering my generation is the one last generation that had life before cell phone. So sometimes it's easy to not lose patience, but not understand why they might think that way when we're, predominantly close in age. That is a good way to look at it. And at the same time, too, I feel the generation prior to me and even my own have failed to not give the keys to the universe to the next talent, but to offer why they should want to have them. I think we've relegated ourselves, a lot of us, to being comfortable and complacent because, like I said, guaranteed money is great. So to not rock the boat and stick around for a while and still deliver at high levels, like that's kind of what happened. So, I don't know. I just like to stir the pot a little bit. Everything's the same, man.
Can I throw you another compliment here?
You can just keep chucking them. I love them.
Okay. So what I was saying before about the number of years that you've had on television, and you're continuing to thrive and get better and better, and you talked about how there's the book on the way, you're still super young in terms of what you can accomplish in entertainment. For you, is the long-term plan to be wrestling till you're 50, or is there acting in your future?
Good question.
Because clearly you can act.
I did a movie with Tyrus once in 2016. That's something that the passion to create fallen, and unfortunately or fortunately for a crux, is within what we're doing with wrestling. So that's really what drives me. And when I go outside the box of wrestling, and I'm creating, like I created a training and nutrition app, I create lifestyle kind of things. But at the same time, it always comes back to wrestling. Could I act? Yes. Should I act? Absolutely. But is it that race that I know I get an agent, then you're doing auditions, and it doesn't matter, felt like you're kind of starting over. I think if the opportunity presented itself, yes, and I definitely should diligently try to, but unfortunately I'm not, because I still love creating within this, for better or worse. So yeah, let's act. I mean, I could be like, dude, I could be like a B-level bad guy in a Punisher series, right? You know what I mean? Like,
well, if you look at the number of people who found success in acting from WWE, it is a long, long, long list. And then you factor in the people who've been in one or two B movies and all that. But both ways are being an actor. Acting is acting, working is working. So it doesn't matter the scope of the projects as long as you're doing it.
Yeah, acting too is definitely connection based as well. So I think, if Cena wants to slip me into something, I think that'd give me a great head start. But you look at guys like Bryan Cranston, for example, and who's the bad guy? Alan Rickman. I mean, those guys didn't start until mid 40s. And if I can at about 48 slip into a Walter White like role, I would be pretty sweet at it. So yeah,
he reinvented himself for Malcolm in the Middle, to say the least. And the dentist on Seinfeld that converted to Judaism for the film.
Anti-dentite.
Exactly. So
I think he just converted to make the jokes.
So what I'm learning here, based on what you've told me about Stone Temple Pilots and the Pumpkins and all that, and knowing who Interpol is, I would say 0.1% of wrestlers know who Interpol is.
Right.
The Seinfeld reference that just came out tells me that you may be one of the most pop culture oriented wrestlers that nobody realizes is that.
If pop culture that existed and was prevalent before 2016, I love it. I don't watch anything modern or current. It's all watered down, washed out, or it's unnecessarily become a battle of political ideals when it shouldn't be. It should be escapism. So, and if you think about a thing like Seinfeld, could they even, that was tame, but could they even attempt to do some of the jokes today without fear of pushback or, an unnecessarily unoffended people claiming they're offended by Tim Watley converting to Judaism? I don't know,
Or Donna Chang, assuming that Donna Chang is.
Oh my God, she was pretty. Yeah, and I think even, I don't know if I'm going down a rabbit hole, but the Puerto Rican Day Parade episode of Seinfeld is hard to find now.
Yes, it is.
Why? I mean, why?
Exactly. So what I'm hearing is there should be an EC3 and Wrestlers Talk Seinfeld podcast.
I think that would be cool. And if you want to do that, it should not be EC3. It should be Tommy Dreamer. For sure.
Really? So he's
Tommy Dreamer is just everything he says is probably influenced by Larry David in some way. So yeah, but like pop culture, here's another thing I fear about young wrestling. And wrestling in general is the trapping of themselves inside the bubble, where when I try to be creative, creation comes from all different avenues and walks of life. So film, TV, music, scores. The fact I know Interpol, like, dude, they're dope. And it was just trying to like keep varied options while at the same time, how can I use an Interpol song to do a reel about wrestling? Like there's plenty of damn good like beats that would underneath kind of play to that. So I guess it's just a creative aspect, trying to get as much from possible. I mean, shit, I'm quoting Nietzsche. I'm quoting you Nietzsche on the beginning of this thing. Like I'm finding character development out of that. So just people being able to open their horizons, and it's not like sit with a dumb lame book and read all day, or you're not a good wrestler, but it's like, watch something else, or don't worry about moves and see, why was Kramer such an engaging character? How can that work in wrestling? Well, I'm not exactly the biggest, most jacked, graceful guy, but if I had kind of, maybe this is a Derrick Bateman reference, if I had kind of curly hair and I was a little, socially awkward and I kind of slipped around and like walked into places, like Kramer in wrestling over like a Rover, but instead people want to do, well, I don't get to do the moves I saw on TV. So like, what moves would Kramer do? I don't know, an awkward big boot, probably. Maybe
baseball slide.
Yeah, definitely a baseball slide. That's the way I look at things. And sure, I've had success, but I haven't been, WWE main event level success. So maybe I'm wrong, but at the same time, let's think differently.
You got to the big show. You were there at the big show for years.
The problem with that,
you can't come back.
Problem with getting to the big show too is why I speak on this is I developed the mindset of there's something to lose. So even if it's not working and I'm not happy, at the same time, I'm like, well, I can't do anything about it because I have a job. Well, no, I don't, but like the fear to stand out, act out, get over and be different holds a lot back. But at the same time, within wrestling, maybe we're looking too deep into what it is as a form of entertainment. I mean, I see it as Baskin Robbins in a sense. There's 31 flavors. Like I have my serious, like, gripping, very, not serious and gripping kind of main event angles. And then I have comedic overtones that's not, laughing at the people, but we're laughing at with them because there's a dumb mentality, especially I heard in WWE, that funny doesn't make money.
Right.
I had a conversation with a stooge in the office when I was Derrick Bateman, and they're like, well, like it sounds like it's getting over and stuff like this, but you got to remember, funny doesn't make money. I'm like, really? Because like Edge and Christian made a lot of money and they did the 5-second pose. And he's like, yeah, but I'm like, well, and The Rock made me laugh every time he opened his mouth, Yeah. And then he's like, well, yeah, but like, I mean, Stone Cold saying what, it was kind of funny. He's like, okay, but and like Kurt Angle came with the 3 eyes, right? And he's like, well, yeah, but they were also serious ass kickers. And I'm like, cool, book me to kick somebody's ass.
Hey, NWO were funny. It's almost like the biggest people ever were pretty much all funny.
Yeah. Now, granted, Derrick Bateman wouldn't go into a main of he's challenging for the IC title and he's doing fucking, haha. He'd probably treat it more seriously. But to get there, you have to stand out, you have to get over, you have to be different, get people's reactions, and then the characters evolve. I think you could see in how I played EC3 from beginning to what it became, is I have to be entertaining at first and, over embellish the character aspect to kind of, I don't know, just get either under their skin, but also indoctrinated in their minds that I'm a presence. And then as I'm wrestling bigger names, I'm actually seriously challenged. And then it becomes more serious and the levels change. And then next thing you know, you're in a blood feud with your best friend. And then you're winning the World Heavyweight Championship because you're able to evolve your character.
Well, my last question for you has nothing to do with how great the NWA is and that we're looking for you in the next big show of NWA, maybe on tour this summer, and we'll keep seeing NWA. We'll put it in the article title and the copy, etc. My last question is, knowing that you're such a comedy guy, was Derrick Bateman named after Jason Bateman and Arrested Development?
No. But Jason Bateman's hilarious.
Is it Patrick Bateman that it was named after?
Derrick Bateman was because they used to make the joke about the NXT name generator, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's real. It's real. And one day when we were new signees, we've been there a couple months. So like, all right, you need to think of what your names are going to be. So just write some names on the list. Okay. So I wrote a bunch of names and then, I wrote Derrick as a first name and I wrote Bateman as a last name. Bateman, yes, was Patrick Bateman, who, I'll show you I do have an affinity for him.
Or American Psycho? Wow, that is mind-blowing.
So I threw Bateman in there, because that's my literary and film favorite characters, and I kind of actually am him in a way. And then Derrick was Derrick Zoolander.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the pop culture, you should be every film buff's favorite wrestler. That's the main takeaway from this conversation.
Granted, if it's, before 2016 and not superhero based post Avengers Endgame, like I won't watch a Marvel movie. But film died for me when I was watching The Last Jedi and Luke Skywalker was breastfeeding. I'm like, all right, this dude, I'm out. I can't take, you guys are rooting. But yeah.
Paltrocast.